All right, we're gonna get right into this. UFC Fight Island 305 headlined by Marlon Moraes versus Corey Sandhagan. Overall, this card doesn't look that great. The names on the card isn't that great. However, I do like this headliner. Sandhagen versus Moraes. It's a really good main event. Both guys are contenders in the division, and like in a 5 round fight, this. It's a pretty interesting matchup for that reason because at first glance, seeing Marlon Moraes at underdog odds, it really catches my attention just because I think he's a very high caliber fighter, and seeing the plus odds next to his name, it makes me want to jump at it. Um, and I probably will play it. I've played it at plus 150 already just because I thought that was a little too wide. Currently, it's sitting at plus 115, and I I believe this fight should be negative 110 apiece at least. The only thing though is I think it's pretty cut and dry on how uh, on on why where Sandhagen's uh, where his strengths are and where Marlon Moraes' weaknesses are. And Moraes, what I'm concerned about is if I were to bet on him, is whether he could go 5 rounds because apparently he has gas tank issues. He seems to be kind of a front runner where he's got about maybe maybe 3 rounds in him before he starts gassing out. And if he can't put his opponent away, then we saw Cejudo just take over and take him, beat him down. So I don't know. The jury's out on Moraes' cardio here. Dude he looks like he cuts a ton of weight. Like dude's fucking yoked the fuck out, and yeah, he's fucking muscular and he's got a ton of power for a guy in for a bantamweight. So that's the only issue here. But in the stand up, I feel like he's gonna be a lot more powerful. He's got great technique. He's got head kicks, leg kicks. Like this guy's super duper dangerous, and I wouldn't even sleep on his wrestling either. Marlon Moraes is a very capable wrestler and a very capable submission fighter. However, like I mentioned, I mean, I think everybody kind of knows this is I don't expect Marlon Moraes to really grapple too much here, just because why would he want to expend his own gas tank knowing that he kind of slows down in his fight. So it's Sandhagen, very good fighter here too, very good footwork, super duper tall for the division, very lanky, um, tough son of a bitch, very hard to put away, and he throws a ton of volume, and so the fight could go either two different ways. Either Sandhagen beats him late, or Marlon Moraes just chops him down and beats Corey early and put him away. Or so yeah, I mean Marlon Moraes early or Corey Sandhagen late. So that's how I see the fight playing out. And I took Marlon Moraes at plus 150 just because the odds. But this fight could really go either way. I'm not too solid on who's gonna win this fight, but like I mentioned, plus odds at Marlon Moraes, you don't see that very often, and I'm gonna go ahead and play him. Co-main event, we have heavyweights Ben Rothwell versus Marcin Tybura. Is that the co-main event here? Let me see here. Yeah, that is the co-main event. Heavyweights. No, actually, that's not the co-main event. The co-main event is Edson Barboza versus Makwan Amirkhani. This is actually a pretty good fight. I mean, Barboza is a marquee name. I think he is moving down to 145 here. Well, this is his second fight, I believe, at 145. Um, and in Americani here, I mean, you know what he wants to do here. He's gonna have to out wrestle Barboza. I mean, not many people are gonna. It's gonna have a striking battle with Barboza in defeat. So Barboza is a big favorite. He's negative 270 to come back on Americani is plus 215. I really don't trust Barboza here. The line is it's probably accurate, but I just wouldn't take Barboza at odds like these. because I do think obviously his weakness is the ground game, and I think Murakami is pretty good on the ground. Murakami has really good wrestling. He's got a great front headlock choke. You know, he's got Darcy's. He's shown it already. He's taken out black belts and things. Uh, and Man, like the issue with Americani is that he gasses. So he's got about maybe one and a half, maybe two good rounds in him before he starts gassing if he can't push you away. And Barboza probably ended up knocking him out once he does gas. But again, like I just don't trust Barboza at the moment. I think there's a possibility that he could get put on his back here. Um, and I mean, if the odds were a little bit closer, maybe Barboza at negative 185, maybe or something like that, I might play him. But at 270, I'm gonna go ahead and skip that. Um, I think it might be a little bit of a dog or pass situation here. Like I said, I'm not endorsing a play on Americani, but um, I do not trust Barboza at steep odds like this. But his back is against the wall, so you know maybe he's gonna do whatever it takes to get this W here. Barboza, that is, just because he's on a losing streak. Um, so I do expect him to come out. You know, like actually he always shows up in every fight. You know, he comes in with good cardio. He comes in good shape all the time. So I don't expect him to have any less or more motivation here, but I do expect him to come, uh, motivated to you know break this losing streak. Um, so yeah, I mean. Again, it's a dagger pass situation for me. Um, Next fight is the heavyweight fight, which is Ben Rothwell versus Marcin Tybura. And these are heavyweights, sloppy heavyweights at that. And I think this is a coin toss to me. I mean, the odds on the dog odds are on Tybura here. He is plus 150. And and Big Ben Rothwell is negative 170, and I would never take Ben Rothwell at negative odds just because he's slow, unathletic, and like uh, yeah, I would never take Ben Rothwell at plus odds. But Ben, we know what he comes with. He's a scary bear. You hit him, he gets angrier. He absorbs punches very easily. Not a very easy guy to take out or put away. And I think Tybura is one of those heavyweights that probably has the least amount of stopping power for the most part. He's a big body, but he's not a big puncher. Um, so I don't expect Tybura to be able to put Ben Rothwell away here. I could see Ben Rothwell could put a lot of guys out. So it's possible that Ben Rothwell puts him away, but I'm leaning towards this fight going to a decision. I might play that, but the decision line is kind of expensive. It's like negative 200 something, and I wouldn't ever recommend anybody play any heavyweight fights. Actually, you know what? The over is negative 155. So still, it's not often that anybody should be taking heavyweight fights to go to decision. Although this fight could go to decision, but again, it's heavyweight, so it's probably gonna be a pass for me altogether. But if I were to play anything, I would probably bet that this fight goes over 2.5 rounds. But as far as the winner goes, I don't know, man. Um, yeah, Ben is super duper slow, plotting, but he's good at eating punches, absorbing punches, and finding that uppercut or something. He might be able to catch Marcin there. So yeah. And then you have Marcus Perez versus a new guy named Dricus Du Plessis. I don't know if I said his name right, but um, I don't know who this Dricus cat is. I've watched one of his fights that was available online. It was against who was it? I forget who it was against, but he apparently looks like a finisher. Most of his fights goes to finishes. Um, I don't think too highly of Marcus Perez. He's a bit of a clown to me, and I don't know what even Perez is even good at. I mean, he's good at eating punches and and being weird, I guess. But not a fan of Marcus Perez's style. This new guy as well, he doesn't look that good to me from the one video that I saw. So this is a skip fight. I don't want to bet on fights where two guys are just kind of low level. So skip fight for me. Like even as a fan, I probably don't even want to watch it. Like I don't find any entertainment value in this guy. So Tom Aspinall versus Alan Bodat. Heavyweight fight. Tom Aspinall is pretty clean striker for a heavyweight. You know, he's got a clean 1-2. He's pretty basic in his approach. Pretty decent boxing, decent Muay Thai. And this Bodot guy, I looked at his record a little bit. Looks like he's a former 205er, and a lot of his opponents are 205ers as well. So Tom Aspinall's a pretty big boy. So if this fight is contested at a weight class bigger than what Bodot is accustomed to, then I'm expecting Tom Aspinall to knock this guy out. So give me a Tom Aspinall knockout, probably first or second round. Um, yeah, I mean, Bodot doesn't have much of. I mean, even if it went to the ground, I think Aspinall is a black belt as well, so from what I've read. So I mean, it's gonna have to be a stand-up fight, and Bodot. I mean, this new guy is a smaller dude, so and I've seen him get put out by Dolce before, so getting being a little wild. So yeah. And then Thomas Almeida was supposed to fight Alejandro Perez. I would have bet Almeida, but apparently Alejandro Perez has got the COVID, so that fight is canceled. And then Youssef Zalal versus Ilya Tupuria. I watched a couple of videos on YouTube of Ilya, and he looks like a pretty good fighter. I think he's the UFC level. He's a lot of his fights end up in submission. He's got like a lot of guillotines and chokes in his arsenal, but and his stand up isn't actually too bad either. He's a pretty aggressive striker. He's got a clean 1-2. He's doesn't throw more than two punches at a time though. Like he'll throw a left hook or overhand rights and um I mean he looks like he throws with a lot of power and he looks pretty strong himself. Zalal is a mover. He's guys like to move. He likes to move his feet. He likes to switch stances and throw from different angles. Touch and go, touch and go. So this is a very interesting fight. I think Zalal is gonna have the experience edge here just because he's had a couple UFC fights already. I don't know. Maybe the new guy has the jitters or something like that and doesn't perform. So I'm gonna pick Zalal to win a decision here. However, I I mean I wouldn't. It's like I said, the new guy he looks pretty good. So maybe he might come through as an underdog here. So for me, yeah, it's for me as a no pick, but I do think Zalal should on paper win via the experience edge. Um, but I think this could be a close fight, so that's a no pick for me. Tom Breese versus KB Buller. Tom Breese is he's got the skills and he's got the size to be a really good fighter. The only thing about him is doesn't look like his heart's in it. Doesn't look like he likes to fight. In his last fight, he fought against what's that Louisiana kid? Whatever. In his last fight, it looks like he got taken down and just gave up and got ground and pounded and got finished there. And doesn't seem like Tom's heart is in it. Tom Breese's heart is in the fight, and I wouldn't trust him, especially not at a big favorite like this, plus 260. KB Buller, I could not find any tape on him. I found one video of him on YouTube, and that was him in his amateur days, so I watched it anyways. And he looks like a pretty decent striker. He's got a good jab. He looks pretty technical on the feet. Um, that's all I mean, if that's how he was as an amateur, I could see him being more improved since those days. So, shit, like I think this is a dog or pass situation here. I think it might be worth taking a shot on Buller just because of they're big dudes, and Buller looks like he has a pretty good stand up. I don't know how his ground games is like. If he's got some type of belt rank, I I could I wouldn't mind playing some money on him. Brees is a black belt. He's pretty good on the ground. But like I said, I don't know, man. This dude, his heart is not in it. So if Brees doesn't take the lead early or put Buller away in the first round, like I don't know if he's gonna be able to like show come back from any adversity or something like that. Like yeah, man, this guy's got one foot out the door. He's talked about retirement before. He's had anxiety attacks before. So totally untrustworthy fighter at this point in time, and like I wouldn't mind throwing a couple dollars on Buller just for fun. Not recommending the play, but at dog odds, it might be a risk worth the risk. So maybe a live betting situation as well if Breeze starts to crumble after the first round. Chris Dawkins versus Rodrigo Nascimento for Ferreira. Heavyweight fight. Both these guys actually look pretty good to me. I watched a little bit of tape on both of them. Ferreira is a pretty rare heavyweight where he knows submissions. So he's got some pretty good submissions. And his striking isn't too bad as well. He's got some power on the feet. He throws some pretty good head kicks, kicks in general. Ferreira, that is. And if he gets you down, he's very, very dangerous, especially at heavyweight. You had heavyweight on top of each other. So two ways this fight can go. Well, yeah, if Ferreira gets him down, I think he's going to be able to finish his fight here, and I do see him as a favorite here. However, I wouldn't trust it. Dawkins, he's got some pretty good hands. I've seen him. His boxing's pretty good. He's got some pretty quick hands, quick combinations. In the pocket especially, and it could be one of those things where Ferreira will look good, and if he isn't able to put Dawkins away and he starts standing back up and Dawkins flurries at him, I can see Dawkins, putting him out. So this is another situation where I would not bet on it. Um, However, if I were to pick, I would pick Rodrigo to win the fight on the ground and get the submission here. However, like I said, man, Dawkins, he's got some fast hands, man. He can put dudes out, so don't sleep on him. So not worth the risk. Especially wouldn't I would not take heavy favorite odds on unproven heavyweights. So that's that. Impa Kasanganay versus Joaquin Buckley. I was pretty impressed with Impa so far. Really, really solid fighter, despite being a guy who doesn't have very much MMA experience. Dude's got really solid boxing. Looks like he's pretty strong. His clinch game is pretty good as well. Like this guy's a pretty good fighter. Um, and he has a lot of solid fundamentals. Buckley, on the other hand, doesn't have very good fundamentals, but he swings pretty hard. He stands kind of square. I mean, he's a southpaw, but he tends to stand kind of square, and he just kind of swings wildly. So, give me the guy who's more solid on his fundamentals, and I think Impa is probably gonna win by decision here. Um, yeah, I don't like Buckley's style. He's just a looks like a big, strong dude, though. I mean, uh, he can put you out, but I mean, those wild hooks, I don't know, man. Impa is the favorite at negative 255. Kind of expensive, so I'm probably not gonna play that. But if it gets any lower, maybe 200, I would play it. But it's too expensive for me, so I'm not gonna play that. Especially a young guy like that. So Ali Al Casey versus Tony Kelly. See, like I said, this entire card, like there's a lot of guys who are pretty unproven, so it's really hard to get a really good gauge on everybody. But from the little that I've seen of him, Ali, pre UFC, when I've watched him before, he doesn't look like a very good fighter. The guy jumps on guillotines. He fights like a lot of low level dudes. So wasn't very impressed with him before he came into the UFC. And then when he came into the UFC and fought Erwin Rivera, he looked like a different fighter. So it looks like he's improved a bit. Um, Looks like he's improved in his stand up a little bit. His wrestling looks pretty decent now. So Tony Kelly, on the other hand, I've seen him fight twice now, and looks like a very, very, very good striker. Um, Very slick, very smooth. Has a very good jab, very sharp striking, very good low ankle kicks. And so this fight could come down to either Tony Kelly beats him up in a stand up, or Ali gets him down to the ground and out wrestles him. So I think Tony Kelly is going to be able to outstrike uh, Ali here, and he's a favorite as well at -225. If man, yeah, give me Tony Kelly. I'll pick him, but man, those are the odds are way too expensive, man. I'm not gonna play that shit. He's only had like what he doesn't even have that much fight on. He doesn't even have that many fights on his record. Neither does the other guy. So I wouldn't trust those odds. Like I'm not gonna pay the juice on these things here. So again, another skip fight for me. It's kind of whack. But if I were to pick, I'd pick Tony Kelly. Giga Chikadze versus Omar Morales. Really good fight. I'm excited for this one here. Two really great strikers, two really great kickers. Um, yeah, man, this is gonna be a banger here at featherweight here. Um, Omar Morales is the favorite, -135, and Giga is +115. I think Giga was at one point like upwards of like 150, so that was a really good line to me. I would have taken that if I had caught it, but I didn't. Um, I don't know. This is going to be a very close striking fight here, and both of them are very solid dudes, man. I think Giga might be the more he might be the more let's see, like creative striker and the more experienced striker. Um, but I mean, we all know his weakness, which is the ground game, and I mean, maybe Morales might be able to get the fight to the ground and beat him there. So I can see that happening. But you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and go with the dog here. I'm gonna go with Giga Chikadze if this ends up being a striking battle. I think Giga is gonna have the like more how to say this. He's gonna have a lot of more he's gonna throw a lot more variety of strikes, and I think he's gonna be better at range possibly. Um, but man, yeah, if Omar is able to get him down to the kind of mix it up. I'm not saying that Omar needs to get him down to the ground to win the fight, but I think he has the ability to kind of change level and give the fight a different look as well. So anybody who has more variety of ways to win is going to be a more dangerous fighter. You can get your opponent, keep your opponent guessing and stuff. And I know Giga isn't probably going to be the type of guy who's going to try to get Omar to the ground. So he's got that one path to victory, which is the striking. And Omar have two paths to victory. He can win in the striking or he could win in the grappling. So, but I think they're going to end up striking each other, and I'm going to give Giga the edge just because of he's a really tricky guy to figure out and very smooth striker himself. So. Um, Flyweights here we have uh, Bruno Silva versus Tagir Ulanbekov, and I mean the guy has a Russian name with an OV on the end, so I expect him to be a typical Dagestani fighter. Bruno Silva, um, Henry Cejudo's little homie. I think I mean the line is really wide, so the Russian, I mean the Dagestani dude is -370. They come back on Silva is +310. Like what is there to discuss? Like more likely than not, the Russian dude's probably gonna outstrike him, maybe out wrestle him a little bit too, so and probably win a decision here. However, man, that's the line's way too wide. I do see something here, and I see the over 2.5 is at -180. I mean, they're flyweights, so why the heck not take the over at 2.5? So I can see that happening. Yeah, I'll play that actually. Flyweights -180, 2.5. I'll take that. Okay, girl fight. Tracy Cortez versus Stephanie Egger. I know nothing of Stephanie Egger. I've seen Tracy Cortez fight before just because she's a pretty girl. She's a wrestler. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say Tracy win by decision. Just looking at Fight Finder, they both have decisions on their records, and Cortez most of her fights go to decision. So she's -235 right now. I'd probably take her by decision at -105 and get that down to that. So that is my pick for that, and that is the card. I'm not a big fan of this card when it comes to betting, just because there's a lot of unknowns here, and the lines are too wide. and the matchups aren't that great in terms of predicting a winner here. So my bet for the card, my bets for the card is gonna be Marlon Moraes at plus 150. His current line right now plus 115. I still kind of like it. I think the odds should be negative 110 apiece. So that's that. I'm gonna take the over 2.5 on Bruno Silva versus Tagir Ulanbekov, and the rest. I mean, man, I'm I'm gonna end up spreading. I'm gonna ante down. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna ante down, spread my spread my chips around the board and just play everything kind of small. I might play a couple dogs here just for the heck of it, and not expecting to win, but I'm just gonna spread my money across a couple dogs and hope to win. It might be a little bit of a gamble, but I'm not gonna ante up on this card. Then on the next card, we'll see. I'm not sure who's on the next card here, but yeah, this card is not a high confidence play for me, so that's that. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna go back to Marlon Moraes versus Corey Sandhagen here. Like I said, man, I'm excited for this fight. This looks pretty good, um, and I could see Marlon Moraes hurting Corey early in the first round, possibly putting him away. I don't know. Corey's a pretty tough dude, so yeah, that's where my money's gonna be at. I'll catch y'all on the next event. Hopefully, I'll be able to pump out more of these casts. I know I haven't been consistent with pumping these things out, but I'm pretty busy, dude. I'm running multiple businesses and things like that, so I just really don't have time to break these things down and record it. But I'm still playing on the side. Just haven't been involved with the forums or with the cast at all. But it's when I go for long rides, long car rides and long drives. I'll try to make time and make some videos, and I mean I make these casts and give out my picks. So good luck everybody.